Hello and welcome to Get Out of Rap TV, Tuesday, the 17th of February. I think this is the 113th show. I'm not quite sure. Now, today's show is brought to you by my two partners, and I couldn't ask for two better partners who are in sync with the way I think I like to operate, and I think in sync with the majority of our industry. That's better outsourcing. I've had some a wonderful trip to their site in Glasgow. Next week, I will be in Sunderland, and then I will go to their other site in Wolverhampton. Great people, doing great things. Proud to be a UK only outsourcer. Real focus on sales, which is my background, as you know, and of course the forum. Phil, Chris, Penny, Ian, Dave, the whole gang. You know what they are like and who they are and how much they focus on making everyone better. So thanks to them, because I couldn't do this without them, and I couldn't do it without you guys. Now I do know that LinkedIn and StreamYard have been having some issues on some other people's com- uh, s- shows and things like that. So hopefully you are with us. Ah, there he is, Danny Wareham, best-selling author of Constellation, all-round good guy. We had a lovely catch-up yesterday. Danny says, "Morning all, watching on the plane, so expect slow misspelled comments." All of my on the phone. I was going to say on the plane. He's added pilot to his skills. Oh, Pete Dunn, Peter, QA wizard. My good mate, Peter Dunn of Evaluagent. Neris, if I could be a drag queen, I would have the name misspelling. Oh, that's a nice one. Morning, all. What do you mean if you could be? Oh, I see what you mean. We could be. Maybe that should be today's question. What would be your drag queen name? It's great to see you. Ah, some wonderful people. Some of my bezies right there. Now, it isn't the drag queen one, but let's have a look at. Oh, Tracy. Good morning, Tracy Newton. How are you? Seems like ages ago that we last caught up. I hope you are still fighting the good fight and having fun whilst doing it. Okay, today's question to get us all going. What's something you love but wouldn't necessarily recommend to anyone? So, what is something you love but wouldn't necessarily recommend to anyone? I've got two, and I'm going to kick off with two just while you think. Number one is supporting Tottenham Hotspur. I love it. I love the Spurs. Um, but I definitely wouldn't recommend it to anyone. It's very stressful and no fun. And talking of being very stressful, the other thing that I love but don't know if I'd recommend to everyone is being self-employed. I'm not sure I'd recommend it, but I do love it. So we're going Danny's drag queen names: Toby Larone or Mal Teaser. I think the teaser one's got to work, isn't it? That's got to be a good one. Very good. So we got two questions running. What's something you love but wouldn't necessarily recommend to anyone? And what would be your drag queen name? Danny, we were thinking exactly the same. Self-employment. Yeah, I love it. Don't know if I'd recommend it. Probably not. What else have you got out there? Something you love but wouldn't necessarily recommend to anyone. I can see people's brains ticking over. Tracy Newton says, being an enterprise customer success manager. There is a theme developing here. It's our jobs. Just don't get us on any careers days. Okay, Neris has got three. Something she loves, wouldn't necessarily recommend. Number one, sucking my thumb. I'm 50 for God's sake. Oh, you've got two. Sorry, my eyesight's terrible today. So number one, sucking my thumb. I'm 50 for God's sake. And number two, watching reality TV. Now, don't get me started because our current obsession is with Australian Survivor. Absolutely love it. I look forward to that being the end of my. It's the end of our day with all the running, lifts, work, everything, walking, Hugo, all the different things we're doing. Don't often sit down till quite late, and we head over to Fiji where they currently are filming. No, they're not currently filming. This is an older one, and we watch an episode of Australian Survivor. It is amazing. I'm becoming a little bit obsessed. So I'm with you on that one. There, it's watching reality TV. Peter, what about you? You must have one. Something you love but wouldn't necessarily recommend to anyone. Okay, keep them coming. Keep thinking about them. And now we have a proper question for you all. Something to think about for our industry. I think, like a lot of you, I know you guys watching, you kind of straddle both worlds in terms of, well, maybe three worlds if you include customers, but you have access to frontline operations teams, team leaders, agents, support functions, and also senior leaders as well. You probably talk more to the senior leaders. Now, with that wide view of the industry, I have a statement and I wonder if you agree or disagree with it. Here we go. Here's our talking point for the day. Most contact center performance issues are leadership issues, not frontline issues. Agree or disagree, and why? So let me just read that again. Most contact center performance issues are leadership issues, not frontline issues. Agree or disagree, and why? I don't want to say where I am on this one just yet until I hear from you guys. And given your extensive knowledge and experience, I'm expecting big things. Whilst you're thinking and typing, can I just say thank you very much for all the birthday messages over the weekend. I was 52 on Valentine's Day. Don't worry, my mental age is still very much stuck in my teens. The body less so. But it was lovely. I had a lot of messages on LinkedIn. I did try and get back to every single one, but thank you very much. And also to the messages on WhatsApp as well. We are a loving, caring industry, and I feel very, very grateful. My old joke about this, a la Danny Wareham style, is that the postman thinks I'm some kind of gigolo, but they are birthday cards, not Valentine's Day cards. And Bev is not happy that my birthday is on Valentine's Day. Okay, Danny says, disagree, but only for semantics. There is no leadership without followship. I would frame it as people issues. So instead of performance issues, do you mean, Danny, that these are people issues? Which bit needs to be swapped out? Neris Caulfield, agree. Leadership sets the definitions of success, in brackets, metrics which are often not defensible, close brackets, culture, value signaling, and expectation management. Really interesting. Really interesting. Leadership does set the definitions of success. And as you noted, culture, value signaling, and expectation management. And I think within expectation management, probably, or maybe as a separate area, leadership sets the activity, right? The priorities. I see that all the time in the team leader world, where people are people are not given clear priorities. They're just kind of left to get on with it. It's kind of a compliment because they see people as being able to get on and figure it out. But it does mean that there's a lot of confusion and a lot of firefighting. And I think it starts with the leaders at the top not setting the priorities. Danny says, instead of leadership issues. So most contact center performance issues are people issues, is what you mean. Okay, great, love it. Tracy Newton, agree. Most contact center performance issues show up on the front line, but they usually start higher up. Agents work within the system they're given. If performance is consistently off, it's rarely about effort. It's about leadership, clarity, and alignment. Oh, I love that. I love that. It's relational issues, and leaders do need to go first, says Danny Wareham. Okay, Pete Dunn. No, disagree. And what good looks like should be clear and measurable at all levels of the business. But if people aren't empowered, if leaders don't show up, regardless of hierarchy, then performance is going to be poor. I love that. There's a theme through all of your comments around sort of clarity. Pete says what good looks like should be clear. We've got clarity and alignment. Definitions of success. So do you think then that that's something that is lacking from leadership? And that's a wide term, isn't it? But do you think one of the things that you see that's missing is that clarity around performance, around what's expected? As Danny said, leaders go first. They might not be managers, but they're leaders. I love it. Danny Wareham says, if only there was some sort of model or roadmap to build purposeful culture and leadership, maybe written down somewhere, maybe in a book. Is this now where you share the link via Amazon to Constellation, which is up there? A thoroughly good read, thoroughly recommended. Do you accost people in the supermarket, Danny? Not accost. You would never do that. But as you're chatting, just go, oh. Have you heard about this book called Constellation? It is a very, very, very good book. One of the very few that's actually different and insightful, and genuinely mean those words. But come on. Now then, please do keep these coming. I wanted to take you back, actually. Constellation, love it. Oh, Marianne is here. Marianne Withers. Neris says, leaders need to understand the reality of delivering the expectations they set. Oh, that's such a good point. That is such a good point. Because often I think they do forget. I think they do forget. And I one of the things that I've said previously before, I think a lot of the time, especially that team leader population, because they don't fail very often, no one thinks there's a problem, so they can keep giving more to, the leaders can go, well, they can take on more, Danny, there's lots of options out there. There are, but none as good as Constellation. Marianne, hello everyone, sorry I'm late. No problem, it's just great to see you here. Yes, I wanted to take you back now, not too far, but don't you think with how busy our industry is and how many different reports and how much is coming out from various different outlets, including me, that you can just, there is so much you can just not get overwhelmed, but forget things. So I wanted to take you back to the voice of the agent. It's a survey I did with Calabrio, where we surveyed over 500 agents from a lot of different industry verticals. That 500 included about 150 from America. They were all agents. They were all. It was there was no bias. I know I can't make a statement as glib as that, Danny, before you say something. What I mean is their leaders just gave them it, and these were all answered individually. But there was a couple of key stats that I wanted us to relook at and think about what it means for us in case you missed it. So here we go. 68% are proud to work in the industry. And that is a stat that I absolutely love because I'm not sure if I would have said the same. Certainly initially, I would often say I was working for the brand when my friends asked me what I did and where I worked. I don't know if I would have very proudly said I work in a contact center. Well, let's be honest, we all have to say call center, don't we, to our friends? They don't. They don't understand when you say contact center. Do you think that's ever going to change? By the way, I say, "Oh, I work in a contact center." It's often when we get new players in the football team. They go, "Well, what do you do?" I say, "I work in the contact center industry." The what? You'll know it as call centers. Now, Marianne, here's a good comment. Leaders have to set down the culture, the values. However, they should incorporate their people to create and implement the right culture. But what is most important, once that is in place, the senior leadership team should abide and live by that very culture and values they have implemented. Spot on. Spot on. Uh, and I know someone viewing will know that we have often called out some of the hypocrisy that you can see sometimes when the senior leadership team are not living up to the values and standards that they hold others against. It is one of the most grating areas possible. So thank you, Marianne, for that. 67% are satisfied or very satisfied in their roles. So some good news. Some good news. These are the people actually doing the job. I think over 500 is a great survey size. And what a great couple of stats to kick us off. Let's have a look at some more. So 34% have been in the industry less than 2 years, and 31% have been with their company less than a year. So we have a third and just over a third who you would say are new. Pete says lived, not laminated, Marianne. Oh, I love that. No, sorry, Danny said lived, not laminated. Pete says, I see a lot of customer service support language. Is that when we talk about what we do? Yeah. Yes. I'm going to write a post about it today. There are so many businesses that say they aren't a contact center. It's like back in the 90s when there was a consistent narrative. We aren't a boy band. That's brilliant. It's the word center that throws it. We definitely need to work to redefine it. Yeah. Customer hub, customer advocacy center. No, you say not center. It's the word center that throws it. It's a really good point. Marianne is agreeing with Danny. Absolutely. Not policies on their wall or tick box exercises to pass due diligence actually mean what they say. You need your eyes tested. I do, Pete. I really do. Well, I had an eye injury at the end of last year, didn't I? And it's still not quite right. But I think that and age and the fact I've always been short sighted means it's just getting worse. Just got to accept it. Does make it difficult when you're doing something like this, though. But I do like Neris's point, redefining how we call ourselves. So we would go from, I guess we have had a bit of we've progressed from call center industry to contact center industry, customer team. Yeah. Yeah. I can't remember who it was. It was a high-end brand. I read about it. I don't often read the Financial Times. It was a few years ago now, but I read how they understood, and when I say they, I mean the head office, the senior leadership um, team understood that their contact center were their biggest brand like engagers, if you like, and they renamed themselves to include, as Danny says, how about Hub? Many contact center peeps are home or hybrid rather than being co-located in a center. Customer Hub team. Again, how would you say any of these to people not in our industry? Or do you say customer experience? Oh, hi, Steve. Steve Sullivan. My Italian client wanted to call his new contact center the customer house and then got cross when I didn't explain to him the difference between house and home. He was going for customer home. I quite like that. I quite like both. What did he end up with? Where did it finally finish? It is a bit deck chairs on the Titanic, though, says Pete Dunn. Spend lots on rebranding and reimagining what we're called and what the purpose is. But same old KPIs, same old pressures. Very true. I guess in the grand scheme of things, um, it doesn't really matter. It's just interesting. It it's not the biggest thing in our industry, but I do think it's interesting. Marianne says BPO to people; they have no idea what that is. Well, me and Pete both used to work for BPA, so lots of abbreviations. Danny agrees with Pete 100%. Yes, we need to change the fundamentals. I just think it's interesting. That's all. That when I tell people I work in the contact center industry, they don't know what I'm talking about. For me, the businesses that say they aren't a contact center are missing out on all the resources available to them if they were lean into being a contact center. That is very true. Um, I'm sure this has happened to you far more than me, Neris, but I've been into contact centers where I've been there to do a bit of work or to talk to them about get out a rap or the team leader community. And they said, well, we're not really a contact center. And you look around. Yeah, you are. You 100% are. Um, Steve, the Italian job all got cancelled. It all got cancelled. No house nor home. Damn it. Okay. So we have a third of our agent workforce is new, less than a year with their company, been in the industry less than 2 years. I would be looking at this group and thinking we really need to make sure they stay in the industry, they get the skills to thrive, and we really look after them because it's this group here that could churn more so than any other. Now, this is interesting. 75% identify empathy as the skill they excel at the most. On that, what was really interesting is we with Calabrio looked at, they did a survey the same year. They did a survey last year of leaders, and the leaders were asked to talk about the skill set of their teams and where they might need training. And the leaders said that empathy was one of the lower skills that they thought their team had. Whereas, and I know this is a totally different population, but it's interesting nonetheless that of the 500 agents we surveyed, 75% identified empathy as the skill that they excelled at the most, um, which I think is a real positive. They understand that they have to be good at that. I'm just going to go back to the comments. Neris says it's infuriating. If it looks like a duck, you take contact, you have service levels, You are not a vocal harmony group. You're a boy band. Danny Wareham says there's an argument that there is no contact center industry. You're in insurance industry or retail industry, and the contact center is purely a medium or touch point for customers to engage with you. Retail workers don't say, I'm in the shop industry. No, that's true. But I guess, you know, a lot of my background was outsourcing, and we were in many all at once. So the common denominator was contact center. But you're right. You're right. 75% excel at empathy. What easier the percentage for self-awareness? Wink. Yeah. You can question it, can't you? But I think it's good that they were offered a range of skills to choose from, and 75% chose empathy as the one that they thought they excelled at the most. They're not necessarily their leaders, but the leaders said, well, I think that's one of the areas they are weakest at. Somewhat in that delta is where the magic can happen if we bring them together. Pete Dunn, good afternoon, Mr. Customer. You're through to insert meaningless industry vertical here. Customers don't care what you're called. They care about solving why they've got in touch. Very true. Everyone's very feisty today. I love it. How beautifully heartwarming is that? Says Neris. I know I'm usually put with the best ones, but my side-by-side experience is 100%. So having 75% identify as empathetic is lovely. The 25% might want to get a new job. Danny says, what is the percentage? I don't know, Danny, what that means. Please, you know, like Michael Scott in The Office, please explain that to me like I'm a 5-year-old. That's what I need. Tracy Newton, surely the fact that 75% even think about empathy is a great thing. Yeah, 100%. I agree. I love it. I think that's a positive. 67% have monthly one-to-one check-ins with their managers. Last year, the same survey, same question, that was 49%. And I would say the majority of people that completed it last year, well, there were certainly the same companies. So again, more reasons to be cheerful, right? We've got something we can work with, and people are having monthly check-ins, one-to-ones, happy days. Again, another positive before, not so positive. 78% can take breaks after difficult calls. And this was in the kind of well-being, wellness area where there was recognition about the strain on your mental health during the role. And these breaks were understood and written out that they are not scheduled. You can, you feel comfortable enough to say, I'm taking a break. That call was really difficult. And 78% said, yes, they can, which I think is really good. Danny says it was a typo. It corrected is to easier. I did warn you about typos. Yes, you did. I'm a typo king. Maybe the leadership are lacking empathy skills, says Tracy Newton, therefore can't recognize it in their staff. Yes, very true. Now, here we can see the impact of maybe our economic situation that 52% of the agents had a cost of living pay rise, down from 79% in 2024. So that does make you worry, especially if you think back to the second page of stats, where we've got a third of our workforce is low tenured, let's say. Things are tough. Things are tough. You know, so yes, 52% did have a cost of living pay rise in 2025, but 79% of them had a cost of living pay rise in 2024. Marianne says, I think it is the people within the contact center industry are the ones that have the most issue with the word contact center, as most people outside have more things to think about. And all they want from a contact center is to sort out their issues first time. That you're in line with Pete. I think we'd all agree with that, Marianne. This was just a, it's not a biggie, but I find it interesting just to think about the names of our industry. Danny says that is a much better stat about breaks. It is, isn't it? It is. We need to, and that needs to be expanded. I think there needs to be more. We really need to look at the whole world of scheduling and planning when we think, or when it's generally known that agents are going to be taking more complex, more emotive calls, customer contacts as AI picks up the more transactional stuff. Neris says, Marianne Withers, but they miss out on lots of best practice ideas. They aren't using the TLC. They aren't reading Call Center Helper. It's a world they don't recognize as theirs when it absolutely is, and they could learn a lot. And in lots of instances, not need me. I've worked with 3 this year. Wow. Wow. And that is such a good point, Neris. They have access to free resources. They could make everything better for their customers, for their team members. And the first door, I guess, is recognizing what you are. So here we go. Why do people were asked, not necessarily about themselves, we wanted to make it easier, but the question was, why do you think other people leave this type of work? And there was a joint first place, and that was stressful workload and burnout. Both were scored as the highest reason for leaving. So let me just say that again. People were offered a range of reasons why they see their colleagues leaving. And stressful workload and burnout scored as the highest reason for leaving. And just as a reminder, this was over 500 agents completed this survey. That I found not surprising, and maybe that's a concern that it's not surprising. But we have to be really careful. We have to be really careful. We're basically saying we're going to have less customer-facing team members or agents dealing with more complex work and being problem solvers. Already, the main reason people leave is because of a stressful workload and fear of burnout, or they are burning out. So we have to really, really think about, the breaks on the previous slide is one thing to do to help, but I think we need to do a hell of a lot more. Marianne says, Neris, I agree with you. I've been part of the contact industry for 1,000 years, and I love it. Hugely passionate about it and extremely proud of it. And yes, there is huge support for contact centers. You are most definitely hugely passionate about it and proud. That comes across every single day, Marianne. Okay, so a warning there, a warning for us that we need to make. We need to really look at how we can build on resilience, look at the workload, and prevent burnout. Interestingly, again, next question was, what are the highest contributing factors to happiness at work? And again, another joint top score was fair pay and having a supportive leader, which, as the host of the team leader community, I love. I absolutely love. Having a supportive leader is as important as fair pay to happiness at work. Fact. Stats based. Good enough for me. So some really, really interesting stats there. If you haven't already got a copy of the full report, I just picked out a few. I definitely recommend it. And a really interesting sort of side conversation around how we're named, how we consider ourselves, what that means. But I think you'll agree some of these stats are really interesting. I I guess the reason I wanted to revisit this, I'm a little bit worried that some of this stuff is just yesterday's news, and we've got the information there that is telling us something, and you'd like to think that the people that downloaded the report, even if it wasn't their agents that were surveyed, can look at some of those results and think it's probably true of our guys. Let's involve them and say, how can we help? How can we help you with? We don't want you to burn out. Maybe you're stuck between a rock and a hard place and you can't necessarily give as the higher pay rise as you'd like, but how do we look at the happiness at work, and how do we help your leaders support you better? um, Pete Dunn says pushing the latest tech on customers in the front line as an opportunity to save money hasn't worked amazingly well for the past few decades, but we seem to be doing it again with AI. That doesn't help. It just adds complexity and frustration. At what point do we invest as much in people as we do in our tech stack? Round of applause. I love that, Pete. I love that, Pete. Absolutely brilliant. Danny Wareham, supportive leader has been top in Gallup, Deloitte, CIPD, and HBR reports for many years. Yet leadership development and self-knowledge training for leaders is still a fraction of what it should be. Again, such a good point. Why aren't people getting this? I don't get it. That wouldn't that sentence be better though if it said Gallup, Get Out a Rap, Deloitte, CIPD, and HBR? That's a little goal of mine now. I want to be up there with the big boys. No, I don't. I don't want to wear a shirt and tie. But 100%, Pete and Danny, I am 100% with you. It is time for us to start thinking about people and doing something about it. I think all of us here, we like each other, we chat about it, we love this industry because it's a people-based industry. We've got the stats, not just in the Voice of the Agent report, but everywhere you can see, as you mentioned, Danny, and in loads of other industry stats. We know what's going on with our agents, with our team leaders. We know what they need, yet investment in people is always down the list. Always down the list. I can tell you from personal perspective that when people understand the concept and they see the team leader community, they absolutely love it. And then for many, it becomes such a long-winded process because it slips down the priority list. I understand firefighting and all of that kind of stuff, but there's interest, they love it, they want to get their team leaders in it, and then it takes forever for something that has the tiniest barrier from a pay point of view. For what senior leaders go and have lunch, they could have their team leaders in the community for 3 months. That's, and I'm not exaggerating. And that's just what my personal example of why are we not doing as much to invest in people as we are in tech? Question. Really interesting one. Perhaps one we pick up next week. For those of you that can, if you could help me get people interested in the community, look at some of the brands we've got, and I need to update this. We're at 700. My whiteboard's over here. That's where I'm looking. 724 in the community. Some great brands. If you can help point me in the direction of people that might be interested, that would be great. Pete Dunn says, easier to invest in tech, easier to divest responsibility for transformation failure as a tech implementation issue. Really, really good point. And I think it's easier, or in theory, to demonstrate what the ROI would be for the decision makers with a tech investment. And it feels a bit sexier, doesn't it? we're going to get this that's going to do this. Um, Pete, maybe because the tech stack can't leave if it feels unsupported. Yeah, maybe we could do voice of the tech stack this year. Well, look, I've absolutely loved this. I hope you have too. I am going to have to run again today. I don't know if I've mentioned I'm running the London Marathon again. It's a little bit like Constellation, Danny, isn't it? It's because it just takes over. Another run. Doing this is a real good example of how having a plan and discipline beats motivation. Yes, in the community we were talking about this. I am motivated to support ActionAid and do the marathon again. That is a huge motivation, but I'm never motivated to do a run in the week, 4 runs in the week. I'm not motivated to go out and run, but I will stick to my plan, and I am disciplined when it comes to sticking to the plan. Just would like to get to a point where I enjoy it. Danny says tech allows us to move any risk of failure off ourselves and onto the tech, as Pete said. Hello, John. John Vesey, lovely human being. Is it also because investing in people involves a deeper level of trust? Yes, I think is the answer to that. It is so strange because a lot of the people that make decisions were once in the teams that would benefit from a greater investment in people. Marianne says, investment for people always has been at the bottom of the list. Everywhere I've gone, it is the first thing I've fought for. Well, that is after I ask a company if they have a people strategy, not a people policy, but an actual people strategy. Then you understand what type of company they are and how much work you have to do with them to support the people. Very, very true. Danny, I've not mentioned Constellation. That seems like a good place to end the show, and perhaps we can carry on this conversation next week. I do hope you can join me the 24th, same time, same place, and I will be joined by a very special guest, so you won't just have to listen to me wittering on for the entire show. But thank you all very much. I hope you have a lovely rest of the day and a lovely rest of the week. This is always a highlight for me. So thank you all. It is time. Only one VT, no, 2, I guess, Danny, but only 2 VTs today. But bye, everyone. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.